From getting some major welcome bonuses for 0 annual fees, 5 times points in different categories, to shopping protections and more, these two cards have given me a ton of value over the last few months, probably north of $3,000. Now your first question is probably, wait, I don't have a formal business and I can't get the card. But no, you probably can get this card and don't even know it. Do you have a side hustle, buy and sell on eBay or Marketplace, mow lawns, or do one of the 100 money-making ideas that Joshua Mayo has been talking about? Well, then you have a business, and that's without officially forming an LLC or anything. At the most basic level, you, me, or anyone else can be a sole proprietor, who is someone who owns an unincorporated business by himself or herself, according to the IRS. And in doing so, unlock some amazing credit cards like the Chase Ink Unlimited that I got back in October of last year, which has given me a ton of value throughout those few months. Imagine you were already going to make some major purchases over the holidays, like a MacBook Pro, a new camera, equipment for the set, what have you. Say it totaled something like $6,000. So how are you going to pay for that? Well, first, of course, you can pay in cold hard cash or debit cards. But whether it's points or cashback, know that you're getting 0 back from that purchase. The better option would be to use a credit card. Now you can always go for the tried and true Citi Double Cash card that will net you 2% on that spend, netting you a return of $120, which is quite good. Probably enough for 10 to 15 Starbucks coffees nowadays. But what's even better is to put that spend on a card like the Chase Ink Unlimited, which is currently offering an all-time high offer of $900 cashback when you spend $6,000 in the first 3 months after getting the card. And because that cashback is paid via 90,000 points, you have the opportunity to get outsized value of more than 2 cents per point, pinning that bonus at over $1,800. Know that this is a limited time offer that's slated to end in the early mornings of March 21st, 2023. So if you're watching this video soon after release, consider using the links down below to check it out and learn more, probably by the 20th, if not before, just in case, before it likely drops back down to a baseline of $600 or $750 is my guess. Alright, so the welcome bonus was pretty straightforward, but when it comes to spending, there are some cards out there that have a really long list of different categories, each with different multipliers you get when you spend on them. Take the Chase Sapphire Reserve for example. There's like 6 whole different lines detailing the points for the different categories, which can be a real mental load. Which is why the Chase Ink Unlimited has been so great because of its simplicity to use. Offering a solid 1.5% cashback or 1.5 times points on your spend without any special restrictions on category or spending limits. That means on top of the welcome bonus, the $6,000 you spent to meet that bonus will net you at least an additional $90, which really makes the welcome bonus that much better. And usually I would steer away from carrying balances on your card, but if your business really needs it, having a period of time where you're charged 0% APR could be what you need to scale your business in the short term, which is something the Chase Ink Unlimited has as well, offering a 0% intro APR for the first 12 months with a very high interest rate afterwards, so I'd make sure to triple and quadruple check that you're not carrying balances after that time. Moving on to the Chase Ink Cash, this is where things get more interesting. For starters, this card has the exact elevated welcome bonus of $900 after $6,000 of spend in the first 3 months, also given as 90,000 points and ending in the early mornings of March 21st later this month. Again, links down below if you want to learn more. Honestly, I'm actually still working on the welcome bonus for this card because without holiday sales and stuff going on, it's not the easiest to hit the $6,000 of spend. But I am considering upgrades like a better chair, some upgrades to equipment, and things to enhance this little set. Also, because both of these ink cards will charge you a 3% foreign transaction fee, it does make it a tad bit harder to meet that spend if a lot of that is being spent outside of the US. Alright, so taking the example from earlier, let's say out of your $6,000 of spend, $4,000 of that is spent at office supply stores. Then you spend your $2,000 on gas or meals at restaurants. If we had done that on the Chase Ink Unlimited, that would have netted you 1.5% cash back on that $6,000 of spend, so giving you $90. The amazing thing about this card, the Chase Ink Cash, is that the $4,000 chunk will actually get you 5% cash back, so $200 back, and the gas and restaurants will be 2%, so 2% of $2,000 would be $40 back, meaning in total you'll be getting $240 on that spend instead of the $90 you would get on the Chase Ink Unlimited, greatly increasing the return you get on your spend. And that's because here on the Chase Ink Cash, you're getting an elevated return on two major groups. First, 5% cash back or 5 times points up to $25,000 in combined spend at office supply stores, internet, cable, and phone services. Yes, there is a cap, so you'll want to keep that in mind, as well as some restrictions that are mentioned in the fine print, where general goods stores like department stores and electronic stores aren't included, nor are large office supply merchants that only sell computer hardware, furniture, equipment, and a few others. Next, 2% or 2 times points, but also up to $25,000 in combined spend at gas stations and restaurants. I'm gonna guess that this category is really targeted at those business people who regularly take their clients out to meals and stuff. I also wonder how long it's gonna take for the gas category on all these type of cards to eventually include EV charging, especially since EVs are just growing in popularity and companies like Tesla are opening up over 7,500 of their superchargers to other EVs as well. I guess time will tell. Speaking of gas and EVs, if you ever go for car rentals, you'll probably encounter them asking if you want to tack on car rental insurance against theft and collisions for a charge of $20 to $30 a day, which over a week-long rental could be almost $200 in extra charges. But on the bright side, both the Chase Ink Unlimited and Ink Cash have primary rental car insurance, which means you could then deny that coverage and have the card cover you for that instead, putting even more money back into your pockets, again on a no annual fee card. You'll also get benefits like travel and emergency assistance, as well as roadside dispatch on both cards as well, if you ever encounter those major issues. Now, both cards have some pretty high welcome bonuses and some categories that really entice you to spend on these cards. But what if you buy a new laptop and a few weeks later it gets stolen out of your backpack when you weren't looking? Are you just gonna be out of pocket a few $1,000s? Well, with either of the Ink cards, of course not, because for new purchases in their first 120 days, you'll get protection against damage or theft up to $10,000 per claim or up to $50,000 per account on each card, as well as getting an entire extra year of US warranty for existing warranties under 3 years. You'll never know what could happen to your valuables, and extra years of warranty could be hundreds of dollars. So having both of these coverages on both of these cards can really give you peace of mind on all of your belongings that you buy on the card. Alright, so if you have or decide to get one or both of these cards, you're gonna end up having a ton of points in your accounts. And because Chase points are basically the best points out there, you're gonna have a lot of flexibility in what you can do with those points with varying levels of effort and value. First and easiest, of course, would be for straight cashback. Go to the Ultimate Rewards portal, click on Use, and go over to the cashback where you can plug in exactly how much you want converted at a 1 cent per point rate, but we can probably do better. Next, you have the Pay Yourself Back program, where at least until March of 2023, you get a bonus of 10%, so 1.1 cents per point, when redeeming for shipping, internet, cable, and phone services, with a 25% boost when used towards charities. These type of categories usually change from time to time, so it'll be interesting to see what Chase does with these categories in the coming weeks. Also, remember, because you have the ability to move Chase points between redeem most of Chase's cards, both business and personal cards. You could combine your points to a card like the Chase Ink Preferred and get a 25% boost for those same categories, or the Chase Sapphire Reserve to get a 25% boost on gas stations, grocery stores, annual membership fees, and 50% to eligible charities. Again, looks like a lot of these categories will soon change in the future, so keep an eye out. That said, another reason you'll want to look at combining points to other cards like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Reserve, or Chase Ink Preferred is because they all have the ability to transfer your points out to travel partners to redeem for outsized value. Say you're traveling to New York, and as if things weren't expensive enough already, you wanted to stay at a fancy hotel like the Park Hyatt. Well, instead of paying over $1,200 a night after taxes and fees, you can redeem just 35,000 points instead, pinning the value of your points at 3.4 cents per point. Or maybe you want to go somewhere warmer and decide to fly the other direction over to Hawaii. You can transfer over to British Airways Avios and book a flight on American Airlines from the West Coast for just 13,000 points and a few dollars in fees with some pretty decent availabilities. There are a ton of different ways to get some amazing value from Chase points, and I go through a lot of them up in the video above, but in general, I'd say a very safe estimate if you're going to be using your points in these ways is about 2 cents per point on average. And that's where your elevated welcome bonuses of 90,000 points can easily be worth over $1,800 or more on each of these cards. So which card should you get? Well, you can't really go wrong with either, given they both have some really high welcome bonuses and no annual fees. So as long as you're hitting those minimum spends to get those bonuses, there really is no major downside. And again, I ended up getting both of these cards one after another in the last few months. That said, even though these are business cards, when you first apply to these cards, you're going to need to provide your personal info and get a hard pull on your own personal credit report. Only after that do future reports go to business bureaus and not affect your personal credit report. You'll also need to be below Chase's 524 rule to be approved. Although there have been some data points of people still getting the card over 524, but it's hard to say if that's going to be for everyone. Essentially, what the 524 is saying is that if you've had more than 5 new cards in the last 24 months, Chase is not going to approve you for any of their new cards. Now, if you're under and at say 424, you're going to have space for a new Chase card like the Chase Ink Unlimited or Cash. And because they're business cards, yes, you need to be under 424 to get approved for the card, but when you get the cards, they won't take up a slot, so you're going to stay at 424. So start at 424, qualify for the card, and still be at 424. Another thing is that although the welcome bonuses are pretty high, the spending limits to get them are also pretty high, especially compared to the personal counterparts like the Chase Freedom Flex or the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which only have a $500 minimum spend to get their welcome bonuses. That's a pretty major difference. And remember, you still need some side business or money-making activity to qualify for this card, even if you're just flipping items as a sole prop. That said, even some personal cards can still provide some amazing value. And so if you're not up for all this business stuff, head on over to this video for the best cards you should consider this year. Thanks for watching.